That one was soft too. What the hell? That's better. Woo! Thank God it's over. That's all I'm going to say on the matter for now. But hello, and hey. Welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy. I say something gay. Gay, I'm just drinking some water with some cucumber and lemon in it because hydration is important, and I didn't grab anything else before we did this.
And hello, and what's up, y'all? I am Lana, your resident evil diva, here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because I love me some tea. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I am drinking strawberry sunkist because I am feeling very unhealthy and I refuse to drink water right now. So I'm drinking strawberry sunkist.
And that is your God-given right.
Thank you. And I will drink water later on tonight because hydration is still important. But if I was drinking anything else, it would be from my cup mug. Cup mug. And you can get your cup mug or any of our official cup merch at LanaCheeseCreations.etsy.com, where we do ship internationally and domestically, so there are no excuses. And I'm looking at you, Australia. I'm looking at you. And
why are we looking at Australia?
I'm gonna look at Australia anyway, and I'm usually
we're looking at Australia,
and I'm looking at the UK, and I'm looking at the Dominican.
You want to know why you're looking at Australia? Because Australian Survivor Titan versus Rebels comes out in February.
It's coming back. So Australia, I'm looking at you, but UK, since you're leaving us, I'm still looking at you. And the Dominican Republic, because that's where you filmed it. So I'm looking at all of you. Get your cup merch, period.
I'm going to be real honest. I am so thankful this season is over because, we had a rough beginning and a pretty decent middle chunk. And these last two episodes really just did not do a damn thing for me. I leave the season confused, bewildered, and just that is really the best way to describe it. I don't know about you, Lana.
I leave the season underwhelmed, not excited, not surprised, because the way they started this season, this seems like a fitting ending for the way it started, because it was a very slow, underwhelming start to this game with a lot of people who did not know what they were doing.
Yep.
And did not know how to play this game. And it ended with a lot of people who did not know how to play this game.
Yeah.
And so it was very on brand for the way this show started for it to end this way. So as underwhelmed as I am, I'm not surprised.
Not at all. And we're gonna dive into all of that. Before we do, make sure to subscribe if you have not already, because we are here a lot. It's not almost all the time currently.
No.
It will be in 2024, but we are ramping everything down a little bit. So we're here a lot of the time, giving you almost everything reality TV. We've got two other channels if you want to check those out too, with a lot of drag, almost all things drag and almost all things Eurovision Song Contest. So definitely make sure to subscribe to those channels as well. But let's just dive in. Episode 15, Final 5, and we get literally half the episode is this family segment with this coin booth. I thought it was a unique way to go about the family call visit thing. I will give it props for the creativity. But it drugged me through. It just,
it was too long. Like,
it was so
we didn't need to see them coming back to eat each one and telling them, okay, you got it. Okay, now you can go. And like literally it could have went the first person and went, they say who it is, and then they could have cut to the person being at the booth. Like you could have cut out a good 10 minutes of that if we just didn't have to have them walking back to camp. Oh, how was it? Oh, it was so good. Oh my God, I'm so. And we get this whole thing of Leilani not being able to get her life together because she's trying to woman up and be like, what am I going to do?
Leilani having a full like existential crisis over not wanting to cry in front of her son. And like, I am not a mother. I will never be a mother. So I don't understand the tenets of motherhood. But I'm gonna be honest, it felt like a lot. And that's no disrespect to mothers. Mothers are very incredible. Mothers are great. But it felt like a lot. And I wish I had an explanation for why Leilani was not wanting to cry in front of her son and why she was so emotional. But unfortunately, Lana, we didn't get that because we didn't learn a whole damn lot about Leilani on this show. So had there been backstory on why she wasn't crying in front of her son, I would have understood it a little bit more.
So here's the thing. I am not a mother either. I will not probably ever be a mother because I don't plan on having children. But I am an aunt. And as an aunt, sometimes you feel like you're the second mother to a child. And I have been taking care of children since they were babies, and now my nephews are like 21 and 22 and 23. And so I've been that person that they come to and call on when they, if they can't get to their mom or the mom says no, they come to me. And I feel like, yes, you can have you don't want to be that rock for your, especially her child being the age that her child is, because he's a young child. He's young. He's like 8, 7, 8, 9, something like that. But he's young. And so when you're trying to be the mom, and she's already feeling guilty because she had to leave him for 30-something days. And she came to fulfill a dream, play this game that she wanted to play. So it was a moment of feeling guilty that I left my child to do a game, to play this little game. Sure, it can change our lives. The money can change our lives, but I left my child to play a game. That's kind of, and then you don't want the moment you, after 30-something days, the first thing your child sees is you like, because now the child was like, are you okay? Is something wrong? Are you like, are they treating you right? Because those instincts will pop up like, what's the matter? Why are you crying? Especially to an 8-year-old. They don't understand that these are happy tears. I just missed you so much that I'm crying. He could have been like, what's wrong? Something's not right. Da, da, da. Sure, I get it. I understand that. That's fine. But what it also felt like to me, now this is the part of it where it might seem a little negative for me. It might come off a little negative. But to me, in my own personal opinion, you might not agree with it, that's fine. To me, it felt like
yeah,
like she just wanted more camera time.
I'm gonna play it again because I don't think the whole thing played for the full recording. But
I should have more camera time.
I don't think I agree or disagree with you, but I would not be surprised. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got, because we got her walking away and like, I need to take a moment. Like, okay, get it. But I love that everybody was very respectful about the time. Hannah was like, I don't want to take the whole 15 minutes because I know Peg and Leilani really want to. They have grandchildren and children.
And then proceeds to take 10 minutes.
I mean, I would have took 10 minutes too.
I also would have taken 10 minutes.
I would have.
If I'm first up there. Also,
if I was first, I would have took 15 minutes. I ain't gonna be lying.
Okay, here's the other thing. So they're like, it's we get Tree Mountain, it's a slice of home.
Mm-hmm.
And Hannah goes first.
Mm-hmm.
No shade to Hannah, but I'm like, if it's a slice of home, for me personally, being out there with those people, I would have sent Leilani first. I would have sent Leilani or Peg first.
Right. I would have let them get the 10 and 15 minutes.
I absolutely would have. But yeah, so Hannah goes and she takes the 10 and it's a lovely conversation, whatever. Peg goes, and now Peg is put in this dilemma because the 10 is already gone. So you only have the 5 or the 15. And I had a lot of respect for Peg here, taking the 5 instead of the 15. I was like, okay, work, Peg. Like, work. And then we end up with Maddie getting 3 and Chris getting 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
sure.
I would have loved if there was like, and I've seen a couple different people say this online. I would have loved if there was like some sort of advantage for the person
right.
for 1 minute.
For 1 minute.
Yeah.
Like you get 1 minute, but
you get an advantage in the immunity challenge.
In the immunity challenge, like you don't have to start right away.
Not that Chris needed it, but
no,
you know. Yeah, I again, I'll give it its props for being, you know, a creative way. I've never seen it done this way on Survivor. So I will give some kudos there, but
the editing could have been shorter.
And I would say the editing for this entire season could have been a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. It just felt like,
and we talked about it the whole time, it felt like editing for like a Love Island.
Yeah.
Or a Big Brother or like something like that. Whereas like we're just so used to Survivor editing in the specific way we see it on like Australian Survivor or the original version or even Survivor South Africa had really, really good editing. So
it's just thing like it just drug out way too long than it had to.
Yeah.
But we moved because I really don't have nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, me either. We go to the immunity challenge, and it's another classic we haven't seen in a minute, but this is actually one of my favorite challenges.
I like this one actually.
The ball maze, build the puzzle, but you got to keep grabbing your ball, throwing it back up. It's a split focus challenge, which I know I would do horrible at, but I love watching people do it because some people get it and some people do not.
Right.
And nobody here was really getting it. It was like nobody was getting both parts of it.
Oh, well, no.
Because Maddie was getting the throwing of the ball, but that man could not solve the puzzle to save his life. And Leilani was getting the puzzle,
but she couldn't.
She would never remember to get the ball. Chris was in a similar situation. Peg did fine.
Yeah. Hannah was doing really good.
I thought this was going to be Hannah's first immunity win.
Me too.
I'm like, okay, Hannah. All right, go get your immunity, Hannah. And she had the puzzle made.
She had it done.
But the top row was flipped around. And she could not realize what the issue was.
I have a problem here. Okay. Why do nobody walk around and look at the other side of the puzzle? Why
because they don't know how to play Survivor, Lana.
I don't understand. But Austin did the same thing on Survivor this season. He didn't walk around to see that the other side said,
but you have to remember, these people don't know how to play Survivor.
Austin knows how to play Survivor. Why did he walk around to see that the other side said?
Oh, I'm just saying for this group of people, I'm not talking about Austin. That's another day. That finale's happening tonight.
Right.
But I understand.
My
But it's just like,
frustration is, why do nobody walk around to see the other side of the
because
main
it's not
puzzle?
morally correct. I don't know. I don't know, Lana. I wish I had a better explanation for you. I really do. I really wish I had a better explanation for you, but I just
I
don't.
wish I had. I wish you did too, because this is driving me insane.
But after all of that hullabaloo, Chris gets it.
All of that. Good on Chris.
Deserved.
Good on Chris.
And obviously the vote was going to be Chris otherwise. So now they're like, oh shit, who do we vote for? It's a whole lot of fluff and BS because it's either going to be Chris or not Chris. It's either going to be Maddie or Peg.
Or Peg, yeah.
But everyone's kind of targeting someone different is the thing. Like Leilani throughout both of these episodes is like talking about Hannah because Hannah's a big social threat and she's like very, very well liked with the jury. We'll talk more about that later. Chris is like, oh, do I need to get out Maddie? Yes. That is what you needed to do.
Absolutely.
But it's fine. It's not fine for him, but he needed to take out, he was like, do I take out Maddie? Do I take out Peg? Nobody's looking at Leilani.
So we go to tribal.
We go to tribal, and they continue to say a whole lot of nothing.
Nothing.
And
it is so weak and boring. Like it's so weak, so boring. I was like, ugh.
And a unanimous vote sends Pegleg out.
Sure.
I will say, I didn't want Peg to win. I think Peg would have been the most unique winner. And it would have been deserved. I think if he had made it to the final tribal, I think it would have been very deserved. And I would have said, you know what? Sure.
Absolutely. It would have been smart to keep Peg and send Matt home. But I don't understand what people would. We'll talk about it. But yeah. So they sent Peg home. Peg would have been a deserving winner because he did play this game. He did win challenges. He did do what needed to be done for him. He went over to the other.
Maybe the most well-rounded of the finalists.
Yeah, honestly. I think he was. I agree. I think he was very well-rounded. But
he would have had a great story at that final tribal.
Absolutely. And he would have won. If Peg
maybe
was in the final three,
maybe I would have wanted Peg Leg to win this season.
He would have, and I wouldn't have been mad at it. And I would have I'm like, yes, because he did that.
Deserved.
He did that too. Deserved. He did that too. I wouldn't have been mad at it, but that's not what happened because Peg is gone.
No. So it's the finale. Final four.
Thank God.
Final four. They're doing it. We get to the final immunity challenge, and it is a classic with a twist.
I like this.
It's hand on the idol. But one hand on the thing, one hand holding the ring, and both feet on pegs. I loved this.
I loved
this.
This was my favorite final tribal immunity challenge that I've seen in a long time.
As far as the way the challenge was set up, I would agree. I think the finale of season 1 of Australian Survivor provided the most intense.
Well, that was because it lasted like 7 hours, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
But I think this one was such a good setup because it's like you have to concentrate on so much. Exactly. You have to concentrate on so much. The pain in your feet, holding this ring, making sure your hand don't come off the idol, adjusting yourself. It was a lot to think about. And I loved watching that. It was so good to watch.
And that split focus and lack of split focus is what took Hannah out first.
Quickly. Well, not quickly. She was stepping
an hour in.
An hour and a half in, I think.
Hour and a half, something like that.
Yeah. But that,
she goes down
that split
first.
focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Maddie, same thing happened to him. Just that he just fell. His foot just fell. Split focus. And so it came down to Leilani and Chris.
Going for 5 hours.
5 hours they were on this thing. And so it got to the fifth 5 hours, and Joel was like, now you have to take one foot off one of the pegs and just hold on. And the wind
they were like, we didn't think this would last this long. We need to end this challenge because now y'all don't have time to go back to camp, and we got to go to tribal because we got some jurors waiting.
And it's about to get dark.
It's about to get dark, so we're gonna need to wrap this up. And I'm gonna be really honest. I was multitasking during this. I was answering some emails. I was doing other things. So when I hear a crash, and then I look over and I see Leilani on the ground, I'm like, what the fuck happened?
I was watching the whole time very intently. And when she fell, I said, oh, because the trailer, the teaser, made it look like, when they're like, you okay? And she was like, no, I'm not. I'm like, oh, Lord, did she pass out on this thing? Did she fall? When she fell in the actual show, I was like, oh, she ain't fall that hard. Like, it didn't look as hard as it sounded.
It looked like she hit her head harder than I think she did.
It didn't even look like that to me. Like, it didn't even look like she hit her head. Like, she just looked like she was like, oh, just fell down. It wasn't like the pegs was 18 feet. It was like a little peg that big. So she was like, oh.
Still a sizable fall. I'll say that.
I mean, anytime your body falls to the ground and collides with a hard surface, it's gotta hurt a little bit.
Well, and those like metal beams that were built into the damn thing, I was like, oh shit, okay.
I was like, okay, but it didn't look as bad as it didn't look as bad as it sounded. But
agreed.
I still was like, okay, girl. Still, I would have. Yeah. The fact that she stood on that thing for 5 hours and some change.
Yeah.
And held herself up. I was like, and the crazy part is when she was falling, Chris was falling. If she could have held on a couple of seconds longer, she probably could have beat him.
Yeah.
Because he was falling himself. So,
and then we would have had the most absolutely underwhelming. Could you imagine if Leilani won the final tribal? They vote Chris out. And then our final three is Hannah, Maddie, and Leilani. It would have been battle of who's the least mid.
It was.
And you know what? I think Hannah wins.
I think Hannah wins too.
And I think we'll talk about the winner. But that maybe would have been a more rewarding outcome.
Absolutely.
But Chris wins final immunity. And I, for one, was thrilled. I was like, oh my God, he's going to do it. He's going to win. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited. No. But we have no time to go back to camp. We go straight to tribal.
Yep.
And this is where things got a little interesting because they're talking about threat levels. And Leilani is like, well, there's someone here that I think is just a big jury threat. And Chris goes, who is it, Leilani? Who is it, Leilani? Who are you talking about, Leilani? And eventually she's like, well, Hannah, you're very well liked by a lot of people sitting on the jury. So,
I was like, girl, answer the dang question. They asked you a question. Who is it? She's like, I mean,
Hannah, I love you, but... And in this moment, I was like, ooh, get her, Chris. I was like, yes, you better get that answer out of her. And I thought that would have mattered. In the grand scheme of everything, I thought that would have mattered.
Yeah, me too. But no.
Any other jury, I'm like, that shit would have mattered.
everybody else. Oh, this whole. Oh, okay. Wait, we'll get to the end. Okay, go ahead.
So we go to vote. Unanimous vote. Hannah gets voted out. Okay, whatever.
Whatever. It's so.
Not that
It's
Hannah was
so-
the most interesting character ever,
No.
but honestly, I thought she maybe played the second most well-rounded game of the finalists after Peg.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to say Chris was higher on that list for me, but unfortunately, like his social game was just so skewed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his strategic game was stronger than I think all of the other 17 people on this season combined.
Yeah.
But Hannah goes to jury. We have a final three of Christopher, Maddie, and Leilani. They get their brunch the next morning, whatever. They do their emotional moment, whatever. Let's go to Final Tribal, because that's what we want to talk about.
Baby, because I did not watch all that nonsense. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Because I'm so underwhelmed with this. But yes, tribal.
I'm like, where do I even begin? Because
Oh,
overall, this is one of the most underwhelming Final Tribal Councils I have ever watched. And I've watched a lot of Survivor.
yeah. Yeah.
Just, I wish, personally, and again, I understand the way that the British public think, whatever. I know how British reality TV is, whatever. I just wish more people there had been more concerned about the gameplay and less concerned about voting for someone that they liked.
I mean, I agree. And let's just start from the start.
Yeah.
So the jury comes in and we get the opening statements from the three finalists. And these are my initial thoughts. When Chris gave his answers, his first opening statement, I said, ooh, that's a good opening statement right there.
I thought it was great.
I said, that is how I said, that's
talking about
good.
like going into survival mode, not really coming in with a strategy, but like focusing on making friendships like everybody else did.
Exactly.
And then
adjusting when the things didn't go right.
Yeah. And having to fight with his back against the wall for the almost entire jury portion of the game.
Exactly. Because the first person in the jury is someone who was totally against you. And so every chance that they got, and they was tainting your name. And so then everything from that moment on was a spiral that nobody wanted to work with Chris. Nobody wanted to talk to Chris, but Chris had to keep winning everything when it was time. And then when people would shift the focus off of him, like that was his fault. Y'all decided to shift the focus off of him. You could have got him out.
You had 3 different opportunities when he didn't win immunity?
You could have got him out right after Ashley was gone when he didn't win immunity. You could have got him out before Tanuki. Before y'all could have got him out, and y'all chose.
Y'all could have gotten him out when Tanuki went, when Doug went, and not when Nathan went because he had immunity.
He had immunity then.
Yeah, I think something like.
Yeah, I think something like that. Oh no, he didn't.
They took out Nathan instead. Yeah, no, you literally could have taken him out at any of those 3 points, and you didn't.
You didn't. So that goes to show how good his game is. Like, he shifted the narrative off of him every single time he didn't have immunity. Even when he lost his idol that he found with Matt, because Matt was stupid and didn't lock the cage, he still found a way to shift the narrative. It was just But okay, I was like, okay, that's good opening statement. Really, really good opening statement. Matt's opening statement was good.
It was solid,
okay.
yeah.
It was a solid opening statement from Matt. I was like, okay. Leilani's was it didn't say much, but it was good though.
Her talking about the game, I thought she had a very bombastic speech, is really the way that I would describe it. It's like calling it a brutal, brilliant, awesome game. I'm like, you didn't play the game. But okay, whatever.
Right. I wanted it to spit me out, and it didn't. I'm like, girl, it could have. They didn't. They chose not to because you were easy to lose. You were easy to beat. Yeah. But so Chris is, like I said, Chris was great. Matt was solid. Leilani's was all right. Then we get into the questioning. And I was just... So they start the question with Tanuki. And of course she was going to go for Matt. Makes sense for her to go for Matt because Matt is the one that took her out. And Matt, she was obviously in her feelings about being betrayed by someone who she trusted so much because I don't know, Matt didn't know it, and I'm sure he didn't realize she was all in with Matt and Nathan. And I honestly believe she would have sat with the three of them and would have been happy to sit with the three of them.
Absolutely.
So for her trust in Matt was strong. Like she would, let's make this to the end. She had nobody could sway her from her decision with Matt. He was solid. She was solid with him. Like nobody could sway her. So of course she goes to Matt because Matt was swayed. Yeah. And he did go against her. And so her feelings were hurt. I felt like she took it a little personal, but I understood why she took it personal because she felt so deeply connected to Matt and he betrayed her. So I didn't find, was she bitter, a bitter jury? I don't think she was a bitter jury. I think she was just a hurt juror. You know what I mean? It's a difference from being bitter and being hurt. And she was clearly hurt by Matt, but she also, I do feel like she was a little closed off from Matt. Like, I don't know if he could have said anything besides, I'm sorry, that would have changed her feelings about what he did.
It seemed like everyone went into Final Tribal knowing who they were voting for. That's really what it felt like for me. It didn't feel like anyone was open to really hearing from the final three. Mm-hmm. And like, I honestly don't know what else Chris could have done.
Yeah, no, Chris could have,
because Chris was, I don't want to talk about the Lee situation.
Oh, I do.
I don't want to scream and I don't want to get frustrated again, but I watched this just so frustrated with the way that he was still lying.
Oh, I know my microphone gave out the whole time, but lying.
No, it actually didn't. I heard the whole damn thing. We were in unison there, and it was a beautiful moment, Lana.
Oh, he was lying the whole time. How are you sitting on jury still lying? The game is over. Your game been over, but you're still lying when we have receipts, homeboy. We heard you say you want an all-male alliance, and Hannah was going to be the last girl voted out because she was the closest to you. Homeboy, you said that. We got the tapes. We got the receipts. How are you sitting on this jury now lying and making everybody in the jury believe that this man is lying when he said what you said? That's incredible to me. And the fact that those people actually still listen to him like they believe what he said to be true, when Doug was right there, you know this man said that. Doug, you know this man said that. He said that. He wanted an all-male alliance, and Hannah was the last woman to go because she was the closest. Don't sit here now when you get called out and say, Hannah would have been there before you. No. Absolutely not. Because before that fallout, you were very comfortable with Chris. Absolutely not. It was driving me insane. That bothered my whole soul. I was like, y'all are stupid. This man deserves this win because this man played this game from beginning to the end. And even when he messed up and had a hiccup in the plan, he adjusted and made his game even better because he was fighting for his life the entire time. This man deserved to win this game. And because you are upset because he called you out on your crap and told the truth, now you want to taint everybody against him for being honest? Absolutely not. This man, I don't care what nobody say. I do not like Lee as a character on this show. And the fact that he lied all the way to the end, and I will say cost Chris this win for your lying. It's insane. Who are you trying to protect here now? You didn't want Hannah to know that he was telling the truth about you? Frustrating. And here's the thing, because I didn't already spoiled it. I'm sorry. Matt wins. And not saying that Matt wasn't a deserving winner. He just didn't deserve this win because and my frustration also falls on Chris because Chris, you gave Matt the win.
Yeah, because there was an opportunity. I think it was Doug.
Doug
gave Chris the opportunity to own the game and talk about the Matt flip, and like Chris was very influential in getting Matt to flip on Tanuki, and he didn't
own it. He didn't own it. He was like, I mean, I don't know. Screw your friends. We aren't friends in this moment. We made it here together, but we ain't friends now because right now I need to win this $100,000. So and the fact of the matter is, Chris did flip Matt.
Yeah.
Chris was the one who got into his ear and told him and Lawrence, y'all are at the bottom of this pecking order. I see Tanuki and Nate at the top, the hierarchy is, and y'all at the bottom. Y'all on the outside looking in. And he stayed on Matt. And he stayed on Matt the entire time from the reward all the way to tribal. He stayed with Matt.
Yep. And
if he would have been like, absolutely I did. And if Matt would have questioned, I'm like, no, because I remember at the reward, you were like, oh no, me and Suki and Nate were strong. You were still holding on to that. And until I opened your eyes and made you realize where you actually sat in the pecking order, you were comfortable being the third wheel in the Tanuki and Nathan show. That is how I would have approached it. And I'd be like, and if y'all can't respect the fact that I got them to flip on you, because something Doug said at the end, talking about some Matt got him out the game. I was like, no, he didn't. Tanuki did that. Tanuki did that. Matt didn't do that. Tanuki told him what to do. And he said, okay. So my problem is Matt did not play this game until Tanuki was out. That was his move that he made. But the ownership of the making the move happen goes to Chris. And Chris should have owned that. And if he would have owned it, I think that the outcome would have been different.
Absolutely.
But he blew it. And I was like, no. And the problem is, and this has been this entire game with half of these people, everybody I want to be nice. I want to be nice. I want to think about others, be considerate of everybody's feelings. Hannah, you shouldn't have did that, Nate. Tone policing. You shouldn't have did that. I lost a lot of respect for you in that moment because you were so aggressive. You changed. This is freaking Survivor. You got to play for yourself.
But again, Lana, these people
they don't know
how to play Survivor.
They don't know how to play. And they don't know how to be jurors.
The only the only people that knew how to play this game were Ren and Lawrence. And I will say, Lawrence had the moment of the evening for me when he had to explain to Leilani what a goat was. For her to then respond by saying, well, I lasted in the final challenge for 5 hours, and my big move was sitting next to these two. Girl, what? Whatever. Anyway, Maddie wins. I can't say that he is fundamentally undeserving.
He made some moves.
This was my second best outcome of the final 3. And I think the difficulty for me comes down to editing. Because this man got purpled for the first half of the damn season. And it's like, what? He won? If you had told me on day 1, watching episode 1 of this season, if you had told me that Maddie won the season, I would have said, who?
Who was that? We didn't even know who he was half the game.
Literally week 3, week 4, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot he was here. And he won the season?
It's ridiculous. It is utterly, utterly ridiculous.
And I know some people, friends of the panelists of this podcast have come for me on Twitter for my reaction to the finale, saying, honestly, I hope they don't get another season.
Ooh.
And I still stand by that. If it's going to be the same bullshit as this, I don't want another season.
Ooh. Ooh.
Because if people don't know how to play the strategic game of Survivor, which, let's be honest, most of the people that are going to apply for this show will have only watched this season.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to be paying attention to games like Doug, Ren, or Christopher, who played a more strategic game. They're going to play like Peg, like Hannah, like Matthew.
Right.
Like, they're going to play like those people.
Yep.
And we're going to get a boring season.
Yep.
And that's all we're going to get.
Because people want to be nice and they want to, I want to make sure everybody's happy in a soul survivor game.
I'm sitting here right now on Beyonce's internet. I'm sitting right here and saying, I hope it doesn't get a second season. And if it does get a second season, which it has not been renewed for yet, there are auditions right now out for a potential second season. If the second season happens next year, and we are sitting here same time next year with a season full of duds, then I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be correct. And I'm going to incessantly talk about how I was correct. And I hope if they get a season 2 that they prove me wrong. I really do. Because I love Survivor. And there were a few bright spots on this season. But if it turns out the way this season did, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to laugh in all y'all's faces. Not yours, Lana. I would never. But the rest of y'all?
Oh, they can't laugh in my face because I agree with you.
I know you do. That's why I will never. I would never. Fundamentally speaking, also, I would never. But, you know, like...
I just don't... I just need... But see, and here's the thing. And this is where I'm going to give it a little bit of grace. It's their first season back from however long. They still got to get their kinks out. They still got to figure things out. And so hopefully when they're doing their casting and they're picking people and they got people sequestered or whatever they got to do, they give them some international survivors to watch. Let them watch UK, Australia. Let them watch US. Let them watch and let them get to know how the game of Survivor is actually played, because we can't just all get along and try to be nice. This is Survivor. I'm a relatively nice person, and I relatively like to see people get along in all situations.
Yes.
But if I was to go on Survivor, I can't expect everybody to be nice and get along with me and let's have kumbaya moments. It's gonna be great. And don't expect people to backstab you.
Yep.
Like, how dare you cut me? And we were friends. There is no true friends in Survivor. You got people who you like, and that's great, and you can be friends after the show. But when you're on an island competing for $100,000 or $1 million, I ain't your friend.
I wonder if it was more so the stakes, because it's not that much money.
No.
So I wonder, I do wonder if that had something to do with it. But
I wonder if they gave $1 million to work with, would they be more cutthroat?
Maybe.
But
regardless, what I will say is there have been bright spots of this season.
Yes.
There was some very good Tanuki for the most part. I think the Maddie
Lawrence.
and Chris Lobster Trap, Lawrence. In the pre-merge, I would say Ren. They were a beautiful bright spot. And I'm gonna say
Christopher.
My favorite. Well, Christopher, obviously. And I'm gonna say my favorite part of this season, Joel Dommett.
Yes.
I want to give Joel his flowers here because you know what? And at least if this doesn't come back, at least he's still employed as a presenter, and that's great.
Joel was the winner of the season of Survivor.
The winner of this season of Survivor was Joel Dommett.
Yes.
And
I enjoyed him very
I didn't like him at first, and I really grew to enjoy him as a host.
Oh, I liked him instantly.
No, I remember saying in our first couple of episodes, I was like, I don't know about this Joel. Like, I don't know. It was just different from what I was used to on Survivor. And I think he brought so much levity to this otherwise very boring season. Yeah. And I think he brought humor, which is not always something we get from Survivor hosts.
True.
So, you know what, Joel? If this comes back for a season 2, it better be with him.
Better.
I would be happy to see it. Could you imagine, Lana, if this was the only Survivor we were watching right now and we didn't have Survivor 45 happening too?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Could you imagine?
Absolutely not. No.
But I'm excited because the finale of Survivor 45 is tonight. And we don't have to wait that much longer because in February, we're getting 2 more Survivor seasons. And I will say, I'm very excited for Survivor 46. I've seen cast rumblings and I'm excited for it, but I am really excited for Australian Survivor because I love me some Australian Survivor. Titans versus Rebels. I think this theme is going to be so cool. I'm excited for phenomenal cinematography.
Yes, that's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm excited for JLP. I'm excited for Men in Speedos, which we did not get much. We got Chris. You know what? I'm thankful. Yeah. I'm thankful for it. Very thankful for it. Thank you very much. But, I'm very excited for Australian Survivor. I'm excited for Survivor 46. Goodbye, Survivor UK.
Yeah.
And on that note, thank you for joining. If you did stick around with us this whole season, thank you. And I'm sorry. Not for our content, because our content has been great. But I'm sorry that you had to suffer through Survivor UK like we did. Make sure to subscribe so you know when we cover the next couple of seasons of Survivor, Australian Survivor and Survivor 46. We've been covering Survivor 45 as well on the channel, so if you want to go check out our coverage of that, make sure to do so. We're here a lot, giving you almost all things reality TV, so we greatly appreciate the support. It takes less than a second to hit subscribe, and it takes 2 seconds total to subscribe and like, and we really appreciate that from you all. Make sure to follow our socials as well at The Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can follow Lana and I on our personal socials down below. And if you want to scroll a little bit further down, you can also go get your merch, including but not limited to Cup Mug down there as well. And with all that being said, thank God this is over. Cheers, Lana.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.